We've all been there. That moment, maybe hours after a conversation, when it just hits you, you were completely and totally misunderstood. Well, today we're going to dive into how a few simple practices, what we call mindful communication, can help us skip those painful moments and start building connections that are way stronger and a lot more real. Right? That's the feeling. That little, oh no, that pops into your head. That sinking sensation in your stomach when you're replaying a conversation and you just know your words didn't land the way you meant them to. And look, this happens to literally everyone. It's such a common human experience. You say something with the best of intentions, and it just gets twisted somehow, causing all this friction or hurt or just plain confusion. It can really do a number on our relationships, both at work and at home, and just leave you feeling frustrated. But what if there was a better way? What if you could navigate these tricky conversations with a bit more skill? Well, good news, the solution isn't some crazy complicated theory you need a PhD for. It's actually a set of simple, really powerful practices that anybody can learn. It's all about mindful communication. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the first part of the puzzle, how we actually express ourselves. This is all about learning to speak with real intention, to make sure the words coming out of our mouth actually match what's going on in our heads and hearts. We're going to look at 3 key practices for doing just that. You can think of these as the essential tools for your communication toolkit. We've got try it on, speak from I, and give skillful feedback. Let's break down what each of those actually looks like in practice. First up, try it on. This one is kind of like trying on a new jacket. You're just seeing how it fits. It's all about being willing to step into a new idea or see things from a different perspective, even if, and especially if, it feels a little weird or challenges how you normally think. This kind of open-mindedness, it's the bedrock of any good conversation. Next, speak from I. Oh man, this one is so important. It's about owning what's yours. So instead of saying, you're not making any sense, you say, I'm having a hard time understanding. It's a small shift, but it changes everything. You stop pointing fingers and you just share your own personal experience. No blame, no shame. And our third tool is giving skillful feedback. So instead of just saying, that was a bad presentation, which doesn't help anyone, you could say something like, I got a little lost on the main points. Maybe next time a few more visuals could help clarify things. You see the difference, right? When you give specific, actionable feedback, you're giving the other person's brain something it can actually use to improve. And when we start speaking from I and giving this kind of skillful feedback, we're not just getting our own point across better. We're actually creating a space where everyone feels safe enough to speak up. And that leads us right into our next practice, which is all about finding that conversational balance. We call this one move up or back, and it's really just about self-awareness. So if you're the person who tends to do most of the talking in a meeting, your job is to practice taking a step back, make some room. But if you're someone who usually stays quiet, your practice is to move up and share those amazing thoughts you have. And seriously, this is so important to remember. Especially if you're a quieter person, we need your ideas. Nobody can read your mind. And some of the most brilliant, game-changing ideas come from the minds that are usually the quietest. So please don't let those ideas go unheard. Okay, so we've talked a lot about speaking, but that's only half the story, isn't it? Just as critical is the other side of the coin, listening. And I don't just mean hearing sounds, I mean listening with a real purpose. So how do we get better at it? We're going to zero in on 2 key practices here: the art of mindful listening and, a really important one, the discipline of skipping the gossip. Mindful listening? This is a total game changer. It's about fighting that urge we all have to just plan what we're going to say next. Instead, you shift your focus completely to, what is this person actually trying to tell me? When you listen with that kind of genuine curiosity, you open yourself up to a much deeper level of understanding and connection. It's huge. And the second practice here is to skip the gossip. It is so tempting to vent to someone else when you're frustrated, right? But all that does is break down trust. The mindful approach is to go directly to the person you have an issue with. Yeah, it takes courage, but it's the only way you build relationships that are strong enough to handle the tough stuff. Okay, but what happens when a conversation gets really heated? When you feel like you've just hit a brick wall and emotions are starting to take over? There's actually a really simple but incredibly powerful tactic for exactly this moment. 24. Just that number. What could it mean? Well, this number holds the key to helping you solve even the most intense disagreements. No, it's not a magic spell, but honestly, it might just be the next best thing. It's a simple rule that can turn conflict right back into connection. It's called the 24-hour rule. When you're stuck, when you're at an impasse, you both just agree to hit pause for 24 hours. It is amazing what a good night's sleep can do. It gives everyone space, it lets emotions cool down, and it often brings a totally fresh perspective. It's such a simple trick, but it really, really works. So we've gone through speaking with intention, listening with purpose, and the incredible power of hitting the pause button. Now, let's just zoom out for a second and bring this all together to see what this practice is really all about. Because at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just having smoother conversations or avoiding arguments. These skills, these are the actual building blocks of real, honest-to-goodness human connection. They let us truly see other people and let them see us, to understand and finally feel understood. And that feeling, well, that's what we're all after, isn't it? That feeling of being truly seen and heard by another person and giving them that same gift in return. As the source material puts it so perfectly, that experience is one of the most satisfying parts of being alive. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Just pick one skill we talked about today. Maybe it's speak from I or mindful listening, and just try to practice it this week and see what happens. What if every single conversation you had was a chance to connect? What if every word was a bridge instead of a wall? The power to change our relationships is literally in our hands. Let's start today.